No, it's the people as well for me, as much as anything. And like you go down the chat, how you loveins, how you Dáithí, how you keeping? Why you're always saying how you loveins? We never say it. I said, sure, I'm only cod. Next second, this woman comes on, how you loving? I said, here we go. Like,
this podcast is part of the GK Media Studios Creators Network, helping people tell their stories. Become a storyteller today and learn about our podcaster network at gkmediastudios.com.
He may not be from Galway, but Galway is now his home. He first graced our TV screens on TG Ceathair in Ballynahowan before becoming a regular feature on RTE. He is a Gaeilgeoir, he is an agony uncle, and he has a great sense of humour. It's Dáithí Ó Sé. Right, Dáithí, great to have you in the studio with me.
It's great to be here. I'm kind of a bit of a foreigner here now, like with all the people that's on this show. You know what I mean?
Well, do you know what? When I was actually getting guests on, it's funny the amount of people that aren't actually from Galway, but you nearly think are Galwegian. Now, I know with the Kerry accent, it's the giveaway, but you've been in Galway now how many years?
I'll tell you one thing. I've been in Galway longer than Kerry now at this stage. I'm here since September 99. That's when I was here on a part-time basis for about a year, and then I moved, I suppose, really in 2000. So I'm 48 years of age, so just over half my life here in Galway.
So you're Galwegian, so.
Well, can they get this podcast in Kerry?
We might send it down to a few of them. But do tell us, like, what was it, the weather man in TG Ceathair? That was the first role?
The weather in TG Ceathair, that was the thing. So I finished in Mary I in May 1990 with a degree in history in Irish, and the plan was then to go on to become a teacher. So I was working on the ferry boats out of the Blasket Islands at the time for the summer, so I had that summer job for around 4 years. That was the best job ever. Like, that's even better than any TV job. Like, even like we were in and out in a pair of shorts and t-shirts every day, in and out to one of the most beautiful places in the world. So I came off that then at the end of the summer, and I didn't get the H-dip to go teaching, so I was going sub-teaching for the year. And then somebody contacted me in TG Ceathair, look, we're looking for a part-time weather people, would you be interested in doing it? Like, if Meghann, if you'd have asked me that time, say, would you have more chance of going to the moon or working on TV? I'd say, do you know what, to be fair, the way things are going, I probably have a good shot at going to the moon. But going on TV was never on my radar, ever at all. Being in the limelight, not really, it just wasn't there. So, and young teachers listening to this will understand, when you start out teaching, you need to earn a few extra bob to pay for the bills and so on. So I was teaching in the primary school in Cork during the week, and I was on the weather in TG Ceathair at the weekend. So I give half the year teaching there, and then I give the second half in the community college in Athlone. So, but I was there, and then after about a year and a bit, they said, look, would you be interested in coming on full time? Of course, the same week then, I get the H-dip. Oh, no. I get the H-dip in Maynooth and in Queens and Belfast, and a full-time job in TG Ceathair. So I said, look, I'll have a go at the TG Ceathair thing, because I thought it was relatively easy, stand in front of a camera and you talk into it and that's it. Like, and 25 years last September, I'm on TV for 25 years and I haven't worked a day since.
Do you know what, TG Ceathair though is great. I feel like if anyone all has a bit of Irish, and you just have a bit, you know, like if you can just talk at all, I feel like it's great, because like so many careers have started in TG Ceathair, and you ask a lot of people, you know, what did you do first, and it's literally like a degree in something completely different, but just because they the Gaeilge, it really just
it does. Like, and like say what I learned, I was on the weather and continuity on TG Ceathair for 11 years, so the weather shows, all bar one, were recorded, so that was a bit of live experience there. But when we started in the beginning, there was 2 live links every day, and then you were doing live continuity all the time. So like the basis that gives you as a broadcaster, for example, during a live TV show that we're doing all the time now, like say, when things go wrong, that's what you fall back on, because you're used to talking, you're used to filling time. You can't turn around to the audience and say, look, you're talking amongst yourselves. It doesn't work like that. So the base I got there on TG Ceathair really fed into what I'm ended up doing at the moment.
I have to say though, I do love live TV. It's just the buzz off it is something else.
It is, like, it's good, like, but we're at a stage now where we're 13 years into the Today Show, and I was 2 years with Claire Byrne before that, so that's 15 years. And it even happened last week where I was looking at somebody across the studio going, is this live now? Are we on or not? So you can become a small bit complacent in one sense, but that's the comfortableness you want as a broadcaster, because if things do go wrong, but then again, if something goes wrong, who cares? Like,
Yeah.
It doesn't really matter. Say something going wrong for me at work and something going wrong for a heart surgeon has two different outcomes. And you have to look at it like that. Like, say, for example, if you make a boo-boo, which I've often done, and somebody's talking about it on Facebook or whatever, and that's about it. Like, how bad?
I remember the day I was on doing one of my sports segments with you, and do you remember there was the phone was going off in studio?
Oh, yeah.
We couldn't stop it. And then I remember it was going, we were trying to get the phone to stop ringing, but then I just stayed talking because I was like, I'm just going to stay talking. And then it kept happening. But people at home love that because
they
that's
love
what
it.
they say.
Like, yeah.
Like, that time the phone was going
off.
off.
That's the thing. And there was I remember the time that Paul Finn was inside in the kitchen. He was cooking something and he caught the pan anyway. He was doing the fancy stuff and somebody may or may not have loosened the handle, right? But maybe a bit too much, and all of a sudden the pan went flying across the kitchen. But that's all people were talking about, and it was good. And no, he got it up and he got the dish finished and everything. But that's part of the fun. That's part of the excitement. And in one sense, it's part of the pay as well. Like,
yeah, people love it. Love the odd mistake and stuff. Now I know you've pretty much worked across every show on TG Gar. You're also on Rossi Bio. We showed a clip of you from Listowel. Yeah,
do you know that was a real highlight I had every year because just before you go back into the shed for the winter, if you like, after the summer, they just send me down to Listowel for 7 days racing. And like I used to stay back home in West Kerry as well, so it's about an hour and 20 minutes. So it was a real chance for me to connect with people at home, and then I'd stay for a night or two in Listowel as well. And it was just that real sense of that the summer's over, we've worked very, very hard, and it's the Harvest Festival, and you really get it there, and there's a great sense and great fun, and the people come from all over.
Oh, I actually only started going to the last few years with Rossi Bio, and it's just some crack. And everyone wants to chat to you, which is
everybody.
When you're like you know yourself, when you're live TV like that, especially at something like races where you need people to talk to, and they literally coming up to you going, "Can I talk?" And you're like,
and that's it. Away you go, off you go. But everybody has something to say then, and it's good. And everybody's in good humour down there as well. It's very like the Galway Races, but in a different way as well. Or it's like, say, Punchestown, what happens, say, at the end of April as well. There's always a great kind of community festival feeling to those racing festivals as well.
Did RT always feel like the kind of natural progression, or did it kind of just like TG Gar just kind of come about?
There was no natural progression in any of this for me because I genuinely, I really didn't have any plan ever. I was very, very lucky. When somebody asked me would I go on the weather, I said, yeah, I'll do that. And then somebody said, look, you're into trad music. Okay, I am. Yeah, it looks like the Gradam Ceol is coming up. Will you present the Gradam Ceol? So I presented the first one of them in 2001. So, and that was a great experience for me. Again, it was me standing in front of people, telling people about music and having a bit of fun with it, and that was it. So I went down then, I did other shows like Failte, going around to all the festivals in Ireland during the summer. So that was 10 weeks of every summer, gone to all the festivals, which was great. So I did that for a few years. And then I think I tried to leave TV twice. I had it in my head to go, as in just down a different road. And one of them was around 2005 or 6. So I'd been on TV for 6 or 7 years and it was going well. But I was just motoring along. And this is what has happened to me all the time. Something has fallen into my lap, and then something has changed in the course that I'm on. RT we're doing a show called Charity Eurostar. Back in the day, there was Eurostar for people while they were looking for somebody to represent Ireland in the Eurovision. There was Charity Eurostar during the summer by people who were supposed to be famous, right? Now, I was no more famous than the man in the moon at that point, right? No, like say people kind of, ish knew who I was, right? But I went on that show in 26. I thought I was Kerry's answer to Axl Rose. And in my head, I still am. Okay, I'm just going to put that out there. And that was on RT1 television for, I think, around 6 or 7 weeks. We were on 3 times a week, and all of a sudden, people really knew who I was. Then TG Carr started looking at me in a different way. Okay, the following year, they said, "What do you want to do?" I said, "I want to do a trip on Route 66.
Oh, I loved that show.
Yeah, so we did it, right? So the following year, okay, what do you want to do? Okay, there's the Blues Highway from Chicago all the way down to New Orleans. We went off and we did that as well. And then the third, we did a full series then on country music stars. So we were in America for about 6 or 7 weeks that time. That was unreal. And the last one then was, we went down the east coast of America from Fort Kent in Maine all the way down to the Keys in Florida. So, and then at that stage in 2008, RT had a show called the All Ireland Talent Show, and they were looking for a mentor from the West. I was based here. I said, "Are you sure, lads?" They see me as a Kerry lad. "No, you're based in Galway." So then Sean Mulcairns, actually, who plays for Galway at the moment.
From the Aran Islands.
From the Aran Islands. He was the dancer. People will remember him dancing, Shannos dancing. Apparently, there were six acts in the final, right? And the other 5 votes put together didn't match what the Mulcairns got.
I remember watching that, and they were just... And I think because, Shannos was always seen as like Shannon, old-fashioned and not really for young people. They really gave it this.
It was brilliant.
Appeal. Oh, it was brilliant.
But I'll never forget. I was watching the rehearsal the first day, and I said, "You know what? If people don't get this, I'm going to be so annoyed, thinking, okay, what have we lost something?" But they came out, right, and when Sean started dancing, the place just erupted. And I said, thanks be to God, this is after happening. They were fantastic. So that happened for a few years. And then in 2010, I got a text message saying that Ray D'Arcy was giving up the Rose of Tralee. I had been involved as a judge for a few years before that, and I'd been with the Kerry Rose for maybe around 15 years before that. So then I was asked would I host the Rose of Tralee. I was still full-time in TG Carr at this time. Went to the boss, look, this is after happening. They want me to do it. What do you think? TG Carr went off, and fair play, TG Carr came back and said, yeah, you can do it. So then 2 weeks later, I went to, actually, they're after giving me another job, and I'm leaving. At that stage, like I was working 7 days a fortnight, every second weekend until 12 o'clock at night. So I was kind of tired of that. And if it wasn't for that, I mightn't have left, because when you look back, it was probably the stupidest thing in the world to do. If you look back, 2010, the economy was gone, nothing at all happening. I leave a full-time job, right? A full-time job to go off on a year contract. And that's what I've been on since, like. Wow. So, look, it's worked out well, but if you look back, I probably shouldn't have done that at all.
It's funny though, when I try to explain to my friends, but I think they all get it now, but initially it was kind of like, you are freelance, so you don't really always have full-time work, but you kind of do, but you don't, and you don't really know what's coming next. And I was like, and they're like, why? And I was like, just because I just really enjoy it. And I think that's what, I think a lot of people work in this industry. It's like you have to really enjoy it.
You have to really enjoy that too. And it's really up to yourself to put yourself into that frame of mind as well. Because like we do 172 Today shows every year. That's what we did last year. And you could go in there every day going, okay, here we go again. You can't. Like there are days I still leave the studio, and it happened maybe 2 or 3 weeks ago. And I said, I could have done better there. And it comes off in one sense. I read A.P. McCoy's autobiography a few years ago, and he was writing in him like, this is A.P. McCoy, 20 times champion jockey, right? Probably one of the coolest guys that ever walked into a room. And he was racing in market racing in a 2,000 pound race or whatever, and he came off, and he was just so pissed off at himself that he didn't do as good as he could have, and all he wanted to do was go out and win the next race the following day, like that type of mentality. Now that's the only time I'll ever compare myself to A.P. McCoy, right? But once I read that, I understood what he meant though. But that still happens to me on the Today Show. I go home going, I just could have done better there. So how do we do it better? And you have to keep those standards high.
And I find sometimes you come off and the adrenaline can kick in, and you're like,
wired to the moon, like because sometimes, like say for example, if I'm working away and you say, okay, I'm going to go to bed now at 2 o'clock in the morning because you're at the finish at 12 o'clock, and then I'm going to get up early in the morning, and you're there at 3 o'clock wired. So sometimes I just sit in the car and drive home, and I'm tired by the time I get home. Then
I find that sometimes at work. When at which point did you realise Galway is home? Because I know TG Carr is obviously out in Ballynahown, and I know. Were you living on this side of the city then?
I was in Knocknacarra. I was in Knocknacarra for around 15 years. I was in the Capper Road for around 15 years, right? And I just loved the Capper Road. There was a great sense. There was a good few people from the Gaeltachts, different Gaeltachts there, Donegal, Kerry and Galway around the place as well. So you were meeting them all the time. There was a bus stop right outside the door, which was always fierce handy all together. Like Murphy's, Freeney's, Coley's, Taft's, right? They were my pubs in the middle of the town, and then maybe O'Connor's and Salt Hill as well. And you could almost hit the Crane on the way home as well. And I kind of drank at the same places all the time, met the same people, and there was a great feeling there. Like the best, I won't mention the pub now, right? But when the pubs were closed on Sunday between 2 to 4, that's when the crack, they were the best times altogether, because you'd have the whole place inside there. You'd be meeting fellas from home and there and everything. It was good. But so it's 15 years in Knocknacarra, and then I'm almost 10 years in out in Peter as well.
Yeah, but it's incredible, because I suppose you'd Dublin first. The Today Show was Dublin initially, wasn't it?
Yeah. So back to your question, when did I realise when Galway was home? I really realised Galway was home when we finished with the Today Show. I had a house in Knocknacarra. I bought that in 2004, so that was always my base. Even when I was renting in Dublin, I was always coming back to Galway. And then the show leaves Dublin. It turns from the Daily Show to the Today Show. The Today Show comes out of Cork. I could have moved to Cork. I could have moved to Kerry. I wanted to come back to Galway. So that's when I realised, I suppose, Galway was home. Now, I do have a brother, a wife, his wife, and their 3 daughters in Barna. So there was a good family structure there all the time. So they were very close to us all the time. Do you know what I mean? But I suppose really when the show went from Dublin to Cork, and I decided to, okay, we're living in Galway, that's when I realised this is it. Like,
and what is your do you have a favourite like spot in Galway, whether it's like a beach or a park or an area, like say like Spiddle for me is always going to be my favourite part of Galway. Whenever time I go out there, I just feel, I don't know, I feel like I'm at home.
Yeah, I know what you're saying. Yeah, I suppose the prom.
Yeah.
The prom, like I remember like training for the Rose of Tralee the first year, right? I was just in great form for I went training, as in physically training for about 3 months before it.
Wow.
So the prom and the woods in Barna.
Yeah.
I tracks all around there, and I do the same track every day, and some times I do it maybe twice a day as well. But the prom in Galway was always just sit down and take it all, and it's always so nice.
Yeah, I have to say the prom is just extra special.
Yeah.
Although there was one time there I went aside to go for a run in the prom, and it was a really windy day. And sure, I was swallowing more sand.
Yeah. I know, yeah, I know.
And then the wind was like hitting me in the face, and I was like, it's not as enjoyable as I thought. But I think that's just what Galway is. You just have to get used to the weather.
Yeah, that's it. And I know it's the people as well for me, as much as anything. And you go down the Clad, how are you lovings? And I've said that a few times on television. I was down the Clad, but probably around this time last year, and I was talking to this lady, and this one, how are you Dáithí? How are you keeping? Why you're always saying how are you lovings? We never say it. I said, sure, I'm only cod. Next second, this woman comes on, how are you loving? I said, here we go, But it's the people really for me as well. Like they're the Kerry and Galway people will be very, very close, I think. And then another time we went in the Gaeltacht town as well. There's always a great Irish language vibe inside in the city. And I think if you come from another Gaeltacht area, you'll fit into that society very, very fast.
Do the Gaelgos really look after each other?
You have to But it's, I suppose it's like any other thing. It's like farmers take care of each other as well, or if you're working in a certain industry, the Irish language community are the same as well, always kind of sticking up for each other and making sure that there's nobody taking advantage of us. And like the Irish, when they went to England and America and Australia, they always got jobs for each other as well. So I think it's the same principle.
Yeah, it's because we would have come from Dublin originally, and when we moved to Spiddle, we moved in 95.
Yeah.
And sure, I was only 5 or 6, my brother was at 7 or 8.
Yeah.
So we hadn't a bit of Irish. We come from Dublin schools, and then suddenly we were thrown into the schools there. And I remember a teacher giving out to me, being like, Meghann, Gaeilge. And I was like, sure, I don't know how to speak Irish.
Yeah, I know, yeah.
Because initially we didn't know, and then suddenly picking it up because I guess we were submerged and it's been an option. And then within no time, my brother and I used to speak Irish to each other as if it was normal.
Yeah, that's
it.
And
now still to this day, that's what I say. Now we go back to Spiddle and everyone's still, it's like, you're still one of us.
Yeah, that's great. It's a great feeling.
They're very much so. I think once you've stepped the foot in it all, you're
and even people who speak Irish from outside the Gaeltacht as well is kind of brought into the clan as well, which is always good.
Everyone's welcomed in, which is great because I think that's for the language. I think it's really progressing because more and more people want to be able to speak it as well.
I think the perception of the language has changed hugely since I was younger anyway. Years ago, you had people outside the Gaeltacht afraid to speak to people from the Gaeltacht. Because, I've often heard people that would correct them and stuff. I'm not too sure if I buy into that as much as people think that was the case. Because, I've heard of people correcting people once or twice, but not on a mass scale or anything. And sometimes, I think there's an embarrassment there as a country because it's our language and we don't have it. And I don't think we want to admit that.
Yeah.
And they'll say, it's all right for you. You spoke Irish all your life. And that's, it is okay for me because I did speak Irish all my life. But I'd imagine if I wasn't from the Gaeltacht area that I probably would have went off and learned it. But this whole thing of correcting things, if language is about communication. Once A understands B, shin, and that's it. And it's as simple as that. And I think that has really gone away. And then you have Gael Scully, you've what TG Carr have done down through the years as well. I made a decision, I don't know, around 7 or 8 years ago that I'd speak Irish every day on RT. And nobody has said any bad word ever. Nobody's ever said stop it. All I've got is a total opposite saying, oh my God, I love what you say. No, what I say is very simple and very straightforward and basic, that everybody understands it and there's nobody cut out of it. Then nobody feels left out. And actually people say, I actually understood what he said there. As simple and all as it is, but just to get that kind of just that ethos going and to keep it going, I think is the thing.
Straight in the Vogry.
On the wall, Sinead.
But it's the little things like that. It's just saying the same words and same phrase every day. So then, as you mentioned, people just hear it every day and then suddenly they know it.
That's it.
I was with my mother there one time. We were actually filming something with the TG Gahar and she was there with me as she comes with me to a lot of gigs.
Yeah.
And everyone was just, Gael was going around and then I just turned around to Mum and I said, oh, by the way, this is what we're saying. And I repeat it in English. She goes, oh, I know what you're saying. She's like, I mightn't be able to speak it back. She was like, but I know what you're saying. She goes, I understand it, which I think is great too because, and then she loves hearing it. And say my mamo, Granny just loves hearing the Gaeilge. So sometimes I have a bit of a natter with her Gaeilge.
It's lovely, it's a great connection to have as well,
It is, it's brilliant. I think it's, I I just love to see the way it's going. You mentioned the Gael School there, like they're just popping up all over the place, and all the kids that go, they're really embracing it.
It's unreal. Like when you see them coming out and they're all chatting to each other. Like I was in Belfast a few weeks ago, and there's Ferrister there. There's over 12. That started out, I think, with 6 or 7 pupils. Now it's over 20 years ago, probably almost 30, but now there's 1,200 going to a secondary school.
Wow.
All Irish secondary school in Belfast. And I was walking close to the White Rock Road around the corner from where they are, and there was a gang of them that were speaking English and Irish together and going, wow, there you have it, lads. This is it.
Oh, it's class.
This is the job.
You mentioned there about Route 66 and those shows you did and being away for a couple of weeks. So when you're away from Galway for a certain amount of time, or even maybe you're down in Cork for a few days, what is it you miss the most? Like, is there a certain food or place or area?
When we moved out of the city, I missed the city. I missed the convenience of it. I missed getting 4-star pizza delivered to the door. Fun, the weirdest things of the world. Like, that was my real go-to, right? So when we moved out to Peterswell, I used to go in maybe once a month to meet my friends inside there, because I really just missed just having a few pints with them in the afternoon. Yeah. Like, I'm an afternoon fella now when I go into Galway. I'm in there around 3 o'clock in the afternoon, and I'm gone by 6 or 7. That's it. And I'm happy enough with that. So that's what I missed when I moved out of the city. And then that got less and less, because, you know, the young fella came along and all of a sudden you're busy, you're on the road and you don't have time. And then you're delighted with Mullins is inside in Gort. And that's it. So, like I said, when I'm away, I'm only away really for about a day or so there wouldn't be a whole lot to miss really, because I know I'm always back for the weekend as well. But if I'm away, like, I do like kind of going into meet some of the locals. Great watch, like we're very, as you know, we have a very good hurling team as well.
Oh,
where we are,
I think I might have heard about them.
Yeah. So, but the whole South Galway, like say, even going to the matches in Kenny Park now, if I hadn't gone there for a month, I'd miss a Sunday there where there's a match or two on. There's always good. Yeah. There's always good crack there as well.
It's funny because I lived in the city for just the summer. Just got literally a summer apartment because I had to get it go by the end of the summer. The students were back. It's student accommodation for the rest of the year, but it's holiday apartment during the summer. The same was like, we'd walk into town early. Yeah. You'd have your few drinks, bit of food, and then you'd get home early. Yeah. And then suddenly, even she was saying, she's like, gosh, she goes, we dress like so much more casual down here. And I was like, yeah, we do. And I was like, we're going out in runners because you want to walk around town, so you have to be comfortable. Yeah. And then you have to have something warm on because with Galway weather. Yeah. And I've now gone back out to the countryside, and now suddenly I'm like, I just miss being able to stroll down to either Key Street or Shop Street or something.
Like, say, we'd even be sitting at home on a Sunday evening, the three of us, and all of a sudden, come on, we're going into Galway, right? Yeah. So just to walk around the place.
It's lovely.
It's unbelievable. Like, there's even evenings we went over and walk the prom. Like, we're an hour from the prom, like, you know. And you're going, what are we doing? It's just a nice thing to do, you know. I do miss it. Like, I do miss that. I do miss the, you know, the access to the prom. And, you know, it's just a nice, safe place to walk. You're by the beach, like the sea air is coming in on top of you. Like, so, like, we don't have that. Like, we've Kinvara close to where we are, but there's no kind of walkie place there that you can go at night anyway.
That's I find too, because where we are, again, like, I suppose, like, you don't want to be putting up lights in a Cool Park, I think, closes it in the early evening. And I was saying that prom is literally the only safe kind of lit area that you can walk in. And then, like, sure, look, you're in town, so.
You're in town, you may as well stay there for a while. But Cool Park is fantastic. Like, it's just, and you know, I gave probably years, I'd say, before we moved, I gave 15 years driving past that place from up and down to Kerry. Never realised what was inside there until we moved out here. And then we went there one day and we're going, what? Seriously? Because then the young fella goes to the Gael School in Gort, and we always have a day there in Cool Park at the end of the school year as well, where all the kids are just kind of kicking around and everything, and you're going, what a facility to have on your doorstep.
Growing up, I didn't appreciate it because I didn't, I suppose when you're a child, like W.B. Yeats, Lady Gregory went completely over my head. Yeah. And then when I got to school, then we obviously had to make sure we all studied Yeats. That's all we were allowed to learn was, I feel like Yeats is the only poet we really looked at. Yeah. And then every time it was like, up to Cool Park, and it was like, all right, grand. And I think for years I associated with study and with school. But now I'm just, it's lit. I think it's one of the nicest parks around.
Yeah, it's a happy place to be as well.
Where's your favourite place to eat and what kind of dish?
Okay, I eat a lot of seafood. I just really, really like it. I like the taste of it, and I like the different types of fish. I probably have around 3 of them, and they'd probably be 3 of the best known restaurants for fish in Galway. So there's O'Grady's on the pier.
Great spot.
In Barna. Moran's on the way or out the road.
Local,
closest. And another place that is controversial because it's over in County Clare. And that's Linnan's in New Quay as well.
Super spot.
A super spot is right. I only discovered that place now during COVID when there was a fish van outside the front. And somebody had been talking about it for so long, and I said, okay, we're going to go out. And then we keep going back there, and it's a kind of a special place as well for, say, when Rita's parents would come over, we'd always go there for lunch as well. And then we'd kind of head off to Mourns on the way. Like, say, you're eating great stuff. That's the only thing. Like,
we're very blessed. I mean, to have both of them pretty much on our doorstep, because I guess where we are in Galway, we sure Linann's only 10 minutes outside Kinvara. As mentioned, it isn't Clare now. Poor Clare people start giving out to us. It is Galway owned. But no, I have to say, and I know I'm a very big fan of the place.
I've seen that from your social media, Meghann.
It's a great spot. I used to go there as a child when the Bell Harbour Point to Point used to be on. Because that's on the field.
I know it.
Literally outside there,
That was one of the first point to points I went to when we moved out here. Actually, the second one, I went to Belclare first up near Tuam, and then we went to Bell Harbour. That was the second one. And there was a big bouncy castle there. And the young fellow was I'd say he was only around 3 or 4 at that time. So there was a kind of a standoff between me and him, where he went to the bouncy castles when the race wasn't on, right? So then I said, come on, that's my part of the deal. You go down and watch the race now as well. So we used to have a great old crack there as well. But it's a beautiful part. But if you look out at Linann's there, but even when the tide starts rolling in there, it's beautiful. It's beautiful. Like, I'm going to go down there with a feather or something with a fishing rod for an hour or two. I'd like to go see what I can catch, like,
And then get them to cook with you.
Well, that's, to be fair now, I think now, lads, look, the pan is on, the pan is on. Will you fire this joke in, will you?
I'll put in a good word.
Fair play to you.
Before we let you go, and we've touched a lot on your TV career. And you've worked on so many different projects and campaigns and shows and everything. But also another role you've had the last year, you're an agony uncle.
I'm an agony uncle with the Irish Examiner. I'm still looking around going, how did I get this job? But Esther McCarthy was keen that I do something with the Irish Examiner. I've been writing with the Independent as with Seachtain, the Irish language part, for the last 20 years. So she said, look, would I come on board? I said, what will we do? So we sat down. And last year I went back to college at night online and have a professional diploma in coaching and mentoring. So that, along with the agony, and so it's basically people writing in with problems and they want a kind of a West Kerry solution to it. It's the only way, because I tell people I'm not a psychologist, and there was 1 or 2 letters came in, and I sent Esther, said, what do you think of these? I said, no, this person needs to go to a psychologist or something serious. I'm the kind of guy who, I think the one last week was where this lady's daughter is in Leaving Cert, and she is planning already the big, what is now a rite of passage to go to the Canary Islands or to Spain or Portugal after the Leaving Cert. So what do I do? She's worried about it. So what you're really saying there is, look, you know your daughter. You've instilled all these great morals and values in her. You have to trust her. She's 18. She can do what she wants anyway. So you're kind of saying, look, Mom, just take a step back here. Everything will be fine. Get the Leaving Cert over first. That's the main thing. She's working hard. Remind her. Use it as a carrot as well. Look, if you do well, you'll definitely go there. You're going to end up paying for Mom, by the way, as well, just to let you know. But also, Mom, West Kerry style, give her a good old warning here. If I see anything on social media, I'm going to come over and I'm going to disgrace you. Do you know? So it's kind of common sense answers, really. But it's something I've really, really enjoyed doing in the last year as well.
Yeah, no, I have to say, and I heard people talking about it as well. So it's great to know that we've an agony uncle.
Well, listen, I'm always there for you, Meghann.
August Fiera, Dáithí Ó Sé, you have a full day off. The diary is completely clear. There's no work engagements. Yeah. Tell me about your ideal day in Galway.
Ideal day, well, obviously we'd be spent with the family, of course. But if they happen to be in America, right, which happens, what happens now during the summer, we all go over for a week or so. I come home after a week to go working. So Rita and Ogie then get to stay an extra couple of weeks, which is great because Rita's nephews and nieces, they're all around the same age. So they're all hanging out and they have a pool in the backyard and stuff. So off they go. So I'm delighted for them to be able to have that. But as kind of a compensation then, for myself, I'd go into Galway for the evening. So this is it, okay? So I get a lift into town. So I meet a good friend of mine called Mort Callahan. We would probably go down as far as Freeney's first for a few pints. Ming inside there, yeah. It's a good old buddy of mine. We go across the road into Murphy's. That was always a great house that I used to go into, especially when Paddy Murphy owned it. Paddy was a mighty man altogether. Paddy was sitting next to you, and you could just listen to him all day long. He was fantastic. Up to Coley's then. Couldn't go past Coley's. All the lads inside that if Coley's not there, we'd send him a text so he'd come in and join us. In for a bit of Kjol as well. Always a great place to go. And then across to Martin Alley, across the way, then into Taft's as well. More into the snug on the right if I can.
Oh, it's great.
Yeah, in there. And of course, Martin is always in good form. Great music. Then, depending on how we're going, probably down to the Thai Garden.
Oh, have that in a while now.
Down to the Thai garden, and I get the same dish there all the time, and it is the roast duck with some flambé sauce that comes out on fire.
Class.
Yeah, and maybe a glass or two of wine, and then out to the Merlin.
Oh, the Merlin.
Out to the Merlin, yeah. Because the Merlin's my last stop. I'm always picked up from the Merlin to go home. And then may stop in Bradley's as well, in Laban as well.
Got to go check in on the neighbours.
And if I'm in really good form, into Mullins and Gort.
Super spot as well, actually.
Super spot. But no, the timings there would be 3 o'clock in the evening until 7:30, 8 o'clock. That's me done then. I like to go out early and home early.
Out early, home early. It's the only way.
Can't do the late night thing anymore.
Yeah.
It just takes so much out of me. Like there was a fella years ago, a neighbour of ours called Jackie Volley, right? And he always said it to me. He said, Tógann sé chi lá teachtas an námach. It takes 3 days to come out of a Sunday. And I never really got what he meant until around 2 years ago, where you go out on a Sunday and it's Wednesday before you're normal again.
It's not worth it.
No, it's not worth it. Like, no, certainly not. So out early, home early.
I think Galway is a great place for that, though.
Do you know what? Galway, out of all the other cities, right, Galway is built for afternoon drinking. I don't care what anyone says. It is built for afternoon drinking. There's a great kind of buzz around the place. There are no suicide bombers around the place, as I call them, people who ruin your evening by being drunk. That's one reason why I go home early as well, because people kind of get drunk, and I wouldn't have much interest in that. Like, so having good old crack with people as well, but Galway's made for it.
Oh, it is. And I love then just like that, you meet people that you maybe used to work with, or people from school, you meet people from loads of different avenues, and then you meet like loads of people who are only here for the first time. I love meeting people that are in like even Ireland for the first time in Galway. Yeah. And I'm like, I actually think I love seeing the joy in their faces when they've experienced Galway for the first time. Yeah.
It's great, but that hasn't changed. Like that hasn't changed since I came here in '99. People kind of being kind of overawed by the sense of fun of the place and the people as well. And I saw the same thing there during the summer as well. People just being happy in the afternoon, sipping a pint and just living life the way we should be doing it.
Absolutely. Well, Dáithí Ó Sé always says, "Gur míle mágat das leirth," and it's been an absolute pleasure to flip it around and to be asking you all the questions.
It's easier to be asking the questions as opposed to be answering them, Meghann. But Gurmaga, thanks for having me.
Gurvila. You can follow Dáithí Ó Sé and all his antics over on Instagram, and don't forget to hit subscribe and share this podcast.